Hey folks, welcome to Planning Traffic. Today's episode is going to talk about the following. And and what is the following? So I'm going to call this one How I Retired at 56 years, 56 years, 4 months from the United States Postal Service. Okay, welcome to Planning Traffic. That's what we're talking about today. I kind of feel like there's going to be anybody entering their 40s. There's scenarios where I'm sure that's realistic, and maybe this helps somebody to project out what can be. So 56.4 years of age was the earliest age that I could leave the Postal Service. I had started the Postal Service when I was 22 years of age, so that gave me about 34 years of service. I had the years of service before I had the age. 56.4, I met all the qualifications to retire, and then started processing my paperwork. Went and actually had Fed Prep do my retirement because I didn't feel like filling out the paperwork. I didn't feel like messing it up, let's just say that part. And then their rep gave me the bottom line of what I was looking at, which was not, I'm gonna tell you right now, it wasn't a lot of money after holding my health insurance, definitely still holding my life insurance, but it was enough for me to do what I needed to do. And why was that? Simply because when I retired, I did not have a mortgage, I did not have a car payment. I had, I did not have either one of them. So I think that's number one in making a definite, focused decision on retiring is what kind of bills do you have left? What kind of debt do you have left? I did not have any. So it was easy for me to go, oh, all right, I'll give you an example. Just say my postal benefit was somewhere around $2,200 a month, $2,300 a month. And I was like, okay. And then you supplement with the other thing, which is the Thrift savings plan. That's the federal retirement plan. They match 5% of an investment. So anyone watching this video who's young, who's really young, and I remember most of the young people coming into the Postal Service as I was leaving, I was telling them, you have to at least find a way to make that contribution because they're giving you free money. They're gonna match that 5% investment that you're making. I mean, my understanding is some jobs go all the way up to 10%, to a 10% match, maybe higher. I don't know. I definitely read 10 for some. I forget which ones they are. But the Thrift savings plan, as a USPS employee, they're going to match 5%. You're going to put that in there. You're going to find a way to at least put 5% in there. And then you can put in as much as you can. And then my advice really when it comes to that, especially when you're young, when I was 22 years old, I year in and year out, I'd say almost for darn near 18 years, I used to go, how am I ever retiring on this amount of money that I'm looking in that my TSP account? The thing that I wasn't really considering is what it was sitting in there. It needs to be aggressive. It needs to be aggressive. They have what I think they call life cycle. It needs to be in that. Don't have anyone talk you into anything other than that, because you basically will not retire because of your Thrift savings plan. I don't know how you're going to make your retirement, but you're not going to retire because of the retirement plan they're offering you, which is, there's a lot of people that have theories on that. The theory is this: you need to be aggressive, and then you can retire. And that's kind of what I did. I did not use the life cycle because it really wasn't there till later on in my career. Most of the time I was in the C fund or the S fund. That may have changed since I've retired, because I'm celebrating this weekend my 3rd anniversary of being retired from the Postal Service. And I haven't worked in the whole last year. I can't even imagine being committed to any type of hourly thing because I feel like my life is busy as it is, let alone to add a job, even if it was something that I really, really enjoyed doing. But anyway, yeah, day one, thrift savings plan, life cycle, take it all the way out to, oh God, like 30 years. That's 30 years into your career, your postal career is the life cycle. So right now we're in 2025. So if they have a life cycle 2055, you want to at least do that. If you're not doing that, you're going directly into small cap funds or C funds. And no, I am not a financial specialist of any sort. I just know that that's the way that needs to be. So you could retire because of that. That's why I retired, because of that fund that I ran up a high enough number to get out of there. I'm going to leave that to be my personal information. And no, I'm going to tell you right now, no, it's not $1 million. So that's what I really wish it would have been, but it wasn't. So that's really it in a nutshell. And the thing is, I'm 3 years into this retirement. Worked 34 years, started at 22, retired at 56.4. I needed to get that age level to get out of there. And like I look at my life now, because I think, look, there might be, I don't really know the specifics of why people don't retire. Everyone has their own, it's your own business. You do whatever makes you happy. You get one trip through, you do what's going to make you happy. Me personally, leaving work opened up so many, first off, everyone wants to put their feet up, I would think. I don't put my feet up enough. I really don't. I'm outdoors all the time, like today. I shot the one wheel to open up today's episode. I did start my YouTube channel a little over 2 years ago. I really enjoy doing that. I really enjoy traveling. I have over 2,800 miles on this one wheel. We just have the freedom to do whatever. I mean, I guess that's the whole concept of retirement, right? That's why you'd want to leave your job. And yeah, I can't even imagine that first year. I wasn't taking a distribution of any sort, so I was supplementing just because I was nervous. I was like, oh, is this going to be enough money? So I started working where I was maybe bringing in about, I don't know, $500-600 a month. I don't even know if it was that much. I forget. Anyway, I was doing that and I was working maybe 3 shifts a week for a handful of hours, super part-time. And there's like, look, everyone has a strategy. I want this specifically for postal employees, and the reason being is because we're able to make a certain amount of money. You're not going to make over a certain amount of money. You're really not, right? You're going to need to give them 60 to 70 hours, 50, 60, 70 hours a week, which one you're not going to get except for maybe a month or so of the year. So you're going to be in that budget where you're going to be making ends meet with about 70, depending how many years you're into it, $70,000 a year. Maybe you work all the overtime. That really wasn't my thing late in my career because I simply did not want to be in there more than 40 hours. So the idea is stay in your lane or stay at work. That's really what it was. Stay in your lane or stay at work. I actually stayed at my home. Also, I've had that whole hiccup of having a divorce. Financially, that took a shot. I took a shot from that. But stayed in my house in Philadelphia for the duration. I had one home in Philadelphia while I was employed by the USPS. I actually liked my neighborhood, so I had no reason to really, that I personally wanted to leave my neighborhood. I didn't. But then when I retired, I did want to move. I did want to go to have like a single, because I was living in a row home in Philadelphia. I wanted a single. I know I couldn't afford up there, so I kept my number very manageable. Moved in the South, moved into Georgia, Atlanta metro area. I love my home now. I loved my home before. I really love this house. But yeah, it's like, you just stay in your lane. The fact that I paid that house off and didn't have a mortgage for years help me store money away for a down payment on this place down here. It was a plan. It was a plan all along. That I'll have that house in Philly till I don't live in Philly anymore. And I wasn't going to move to the suburbs because the numbers were too high, and I didn't want to do that. I couldn't afford that either. So yeah, that's kind of it, man. It's like, you know, there's a method to it. I guess I didn't really take it super serious until right around 2008 when I started realizing, let me concentrate, at least focus on what I'm doing with this TSP, whatever this is, because up to that I really didn't, and it's kind of scary to think that was 20 years. 20 years. I bet you it was right around 2008 or 2007. And of course, there was a housing crisis then. That was a life event to the stock market. The stock market got drilled during that time. We went through another one 10 years later or so with COVID. But you just need to just let it just, with your account, you can try to finesse it. It's not recommended because with the TSP, well, back then we only had 2 moves a month, and the last move, a third move, could be to the G fund, and that was about it. That's all there really wasn't a whole lot of finessing that you could do to avoid the big hits. And even when you were avoiding the big hits, they were having big comeback days you were going to miss because you weren't in it. So it's almost just let it go. I remember 2008 moving money to be more aggressive because it took me forever to realize that this is not earning enough to build up a big enough account. So I did move it more aggressive, did that for the remainder of my career, which went on for about 15 years from that point, and definitely generated the funds to help me make a quality decision to get out of being in 40 hours a week in the building. And I love to see other people do that. If you watch this video, I would love to hear your story in the comments when you left your job. It doesn't have to be the Postal Service. You know, I just know everyone in the Postal Service knows what we're making. If you're a clerk or a mail handler, we kind of know what we're getting. You know, if you're working all the overtime, you got a definite good shot at making 6 figures. Well, we get that part. For the people trying to just have like a somewhat normal life where they're not living at the job, yeah, you're around probably 75, 70. If you were, I don't know how many years in, you know, just say 15 years into the job, you're probably around that number. So staying in your lane is a big deal, and I hope everyone gets an opportunity to have this chance in their life to leave their job. You know, I think it's, you know, for me it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. The last part of this vid right here that I would bring up is the fact that there is, like, so I remember day 1 and day 2 of retirement. I was like on this, I need to, what am I going to do? Like, not what am I going to do? I already had the one wheel, but I wasn't trained on it. So I already tore my hamstring. I got hurt on that right out the gate. So I was kind of like sitting around waiting for my hamstring to heal. And just trying to like arrange what the days were going to look like. Because my wife works. She's working. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, oh my God, I don't have to go to work, man. That'd be really. I remember the first day going, oh, well, I'm going to work on my art. I'm going to work on some personal art that I was working on, drawing. And then maybe I'll play video games, or then maybe I'll go to the park, or I'll do all these different things. And then I guess about 4 days into it, especially when I started really getting the hang of my one wheel, it was just like, when are you going to sit down and relax? When are you going to sit down and put your feet up? And there's times now where I go, I'll like, because I love hummingbirds. I got a feeder in the back. And even if I don't have a feeder in the back, I get the woods in the back of the house. And I'm like, man, it's be good to just sit here and stare at this. because I'm out. I like to be in motion. I like to be moving. I just like to do things. I want to see things. I want to experience things, especially nature-based parks, trails, street art, murals, good graffiti. Like, there's so much for me, me personally, to see. I look at one given week and I'm almost down to the point again where I'm like, what's the weather like this week? Because if there's a rainy day, I'm going to sit and play video game. Or I'm going to sit outside and just stare at, see what kind of birds are flying around in the back. It's a very joyful, I'm very appreciative of retirement. I love it. I would love to see anyone who thinks that's something that they want to do. I'd love to know what percentage of people want to retire. What percentage? I got to Google that. What percentage of people want to retire? Hold on. A lot of people say I'm a weird guy, and but I'm definitely a special person because I'm in the 11th percentile of people who are able to retire. I think it even said 56 to 59, and so yeah. And again, I feel fortunate and blessed and appreciative. But I also did the work, and I'm also going to say that part. When I say stay in your lane, that's work for a lot of people. There's so much keeping up with the Joneses going on in the world where everyone's got to have this, that, and the other thing. I never did have to have this, that, or the other thing. I always stayed in my lane when it came to just about everything. But 11% of people retire by 56. And that might be a little lower because 11% of people retire between 56 and 59. But there really isn't even a percentage of based data about the amount of people that want to retire, because most people want to retire. They just physically can't retire because of finances. And that's understandable. That's a heck of a strategy, and it takes some of it is completely out of our control. So yeah, that's a big deal. And I did say the average age of retirement is 62. The average person retires at 62, and it said something about 65. Here's the thing. I saw enough in my life where there were people passing way before my current age, people that I was good friends with, people that I was family members that I loved. If there was a motivating factor more than any of the reasons, it was probably having seen that. And there are no promises for tomorrow. There are none. Nothing's promised. No one has a direct line to these higher sources, God, whatever, that's going to tell you, well, you have until this time. Even bloodlines and all this stuff that people are counting on, that they're in their blood has longevity, age longevity in their bloodline. Look, the bottom line is that was a motivating factor for me to retire, and thank God it happened. And I'm celebrating my third anniversary of being retired, which is incredible. And that's all. And I wanted to document and see. And I've had many great conversations over some of the topics that I've filmed since I've been on YouTube, and I'd like to continue it with this subject matter of retirement. When do you feel comfortable retiring? How long you been retired? When did you retire? What job did you retire from? All that stuff. Super interesting stuff. It's a bunch of ideas that could be shared with people, certain strategies. The one that I dislike the most, that's in a lot of workplaces, especially when young people are starting them jobs, specifically the Postal Service. You'll have people who are very jaded, have these opinions about the stock market. The stock market needs to be researched. And that's the end of it. You can't go to somebody who's got some conspiracy-laden lifestyle and telling you, oh, don't do this, don't do that, because of whatever conspiracy they want to draw up. Because at the end of the day, the stock market generally earns 8% a year, 6 to 8% a year. There's 35-year database for what the stock market does. It's everything. Okay, it really is. It's everything when it comes to especially retirement, because retirement, when you're retired, things are still expensive. So you need to backfill. You need to have these accounts to get distributions from, and the one and only one with the postal pension is not necessarily going to be the only one that you're going to need to fall back on other things, and that TSP is everything. That's why I was able to retire. The way I handled the TSP. Do I got gray hair from it? Of course I do. I got gray hair from it. I got the male pattern baldness from it. I got all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you're going to get wins in the market. You're going to get major losses, and you have to just stay afloat. Just stay and let it do what it's going to do. There's people 70 years old, and they have super knowledge in this thing that are as aggressive in the TSP and their whatever their retirement funds are in, as aggressive now as they were when they started their career. They just stay that way. If it's going to go down 13%, rest assured in a year or two it's going to be up 16%. It's going to be up 15%. It could happen at the end of the year. I'll give you a great example, and this will be me going out on this video. Excuse me. The most important thing, COVID hit. My account got destroyed, and I'm going to give you the number it got destroyed by. $140,000 loss. I remember that. And then that was what, 2019, 2020, right? So 2019. That's right, because it was called COVID-19. Hello. Lost a ton of money. That June, I was kind of looking at things, and I went, oh, it looks like the market's starting to inch up. I put everything, and it just so happened, I think I started threw it all back in the C fund in the TSP. About June of 2019. Now, there was a window of opportunity there, and it lasted the better part of 12 months. It kept moving. It kept inching up after that. If you had money in the TSP, you would then, from June 2019, you could look this up, to June 2020, it made 100% back. Think about that, 100% back. If you were fortunate enough to be like, what's her name, Marjorie Taylor Greene, whatever her name is, and had insider trading and sold a bunch of hotel stock right before the announcement that COVID was hitting and blah, 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 all that stuff it did. If you had that info, you could have brought it all down and put it in securities and put it government securities and no loss. And then by June of, like, so that happened in March of 2019. By June of 2019, you put your money back in your account, you would double it. There's an episode of Playing in Traffic that's going to be coming. It's going to talk about corporate real estate, because I know they did that. I know all them companies knew what was coming. They had knowledge of it. They moved money to a safe haven, say March of 2019, maybe late February, whatever it was. By June of 2019 to June of 2020, you would have doubled your account. If you had $500,000 in the TSP, you then had $1 million. Seriously, that's how it works. You just have to at least stay on board. Just leave it do. Life cycle. Put it in the life cycle and walk away from it. All right, folks. I think I said enough. Oh my God, I think this went on forever. I'm looking for a timetable. I can't see it. Anyway, folks, have a great day. Pleasant tomorrow. If you have any questions or anything you want to add, please leave it in the comments. And I will see you next episode.